The leaf that changed my mind. I remember the exact leaf. It was covered in tiny holes. The surface felt sticky. Ants were walking up and down the stem like they owned the place. I had already sprayed a store pesticide for weeks. Every few days, I sprayed again. I followed the label. I did everything right. And still, nothing really changed. The bugs were still there. The leaves kept curling. The plant looked tired. If this feels familiar, you're not doing anything wrong. Over the years, I've seen this happen again and again. Good gardeners, careful gardeners, spraying faithfully, waiting patiently, and still feeling stuck. Then one evening, I tried something simple. Just 1 spoon of a common household ingredient, mixed gently with water. By the next morning, the leaves looked different. The sticky shine was fading. The insects were no longer clustered along the stems. One small detail made all the difference, and most gardeners miss it. Before explaining why this worked, it helps to understand what was happening in the first place. Why store pesticides often disappoint. Store pesticides are not useless. Many are carefully made. They can work in certain situations. But here is what most people miss. Most of these sprays are designed to coat the surface of a plant. They land on top of the leaves. They may hit some insects directly, but they do not always reach the hidden ones. Many soft-bodied pests live underneath leaves. They hide in tiny folds. They stay close to stems. When a spray misses those spots, the problem continues. Over time, something else can happen. Insects that survive a spray may become less sensitive to it. This is called resistance. It means each new spray works a little less. So what do gardeners do? They spray more often. They spray heavier. They change products. But more effort is not always the answer. It's not about effort. It's about approach. When we understand how insects actually live on the plant, we begin to see why a simple surface spray may not solve the whole problem. What's really happening on your leaves? Most common garden pests, like aphids and spider mites, are soft-bodied. They do not chew large chunks out of leaves. Instead, they pierce the surface and drink sap. This feeding weakens the plant slowly. Leaves curl. Growth slows. Sticky residue appears. That sticky layer attracts ants and sometimes mold. Here's what most people miss. These insects do not just sit out in the open. They cluster tightly along stems. They gather on the underside of leaves. Some are so small you can barely see them without looking closely. When we spray from above, much of the liquid never touches them. Over many seasons, I've noticed the same pattern. Gardeners spray the top of the plant. The top looks wet, but underneath, the insects remain dry and comfortable. This is where most people go wrong. It's not about spraying harder. It's about reaching the insect in a way that affects its body directly. To understand that, we need to talk about what actually harms these soft-bodied pests. The 1 spoon solution. The simple ingredient that changed things for me was plain liquid dish soap. Not a special brand. Not a strong chemical. Just basic dish soap. Now this is not about drowning insects in foam. And it is not about scrubbing leaves. The reason it works is surprisingly simple. Soft-bodied insects have a protective outer layer that helps them hold moisture. Soap disrupts that layer. It breaks surface tension. It allows water to spread and coat the insect fully. When that outer protection is disturbed, the insect cannot regulate moisture properly. It weakens quickly. This is why the effect can look fast. But here's the important part. It must be diluted properly. Soap is powerful in small amounts. Too much can stress the plant. Used correctly, it is gentle on leaves and effective on pests. This is the key insight. We are not trying to poison the insect. We are changing the surface conditions in a way the insect cannot tolerate. Understanding this makes the next step much easier. The small mixing detail that changes everything. This is where concentration matters. Many people think, if a little works, more must work better. That feels logical. But with soap, that is not true. Common mistake, over-concentrating. If the solution is too strong, leaves may show stress. You might see spotting or dryness. Not because soap is harmful by nature, but because plants breathe through their surfaces. What surprised me was how little was needed. Just 1 spoon of liquid dish soap in a large spray bottle of water is often enough. Stir gently. Do not shake hard. Foam is not the goal. If the mix is too weak, it may not fully coat the insects. If it is too strong, the plant may struggle. Balance is the difference. This method does not require daily spraying. Often, 1 careful application, followed by observation, is enough to see change. If needed, a second light treatment can follow after a few days. Slow and steady works better than force. How to apply it without bending or heavy spraying. Application is simple. Use a clean spray bottle. Adjust it to a fine mist. The goal is light coverage, not dripping leaves. The best time to spray is early morning or late afternoon. This avoids strong sun. Midday heat can cause moisture to dry too quickly. You do not need to kneel. You do not need to scrub. Stand comfortably and gently lift leaves with 1 hand if needed. A small mirror can help you see underneath without bending deeply. Spray the underside of leaves first, then lightly mist the tops. If this feels slow, that's okay. Take your time. Move plant by plant. Focus on areas where insects gather. After spraying, let the plant rest. Do not rinse immediately. Allow the solution to sit for a short period so it can do its work. No heavy equipment. No complicated tools. Just observation and gentle application. When you'll see results and when you won't. Some pests respond quickly. Aphids often drop off within a day. You may see fewer clusters the next morning. Spider mites can take a little longer. Their webbing may still appear for a few days. This is normal. What matters most is consistency, not force. Over the years, I have noticed that gardeners who check their plants calmly every few days see better long-term results than those who spray aggressively once and forget. If you see improvement but not perfection, that is still progress. Remember, we are working with living systems. Plants grow at their own pace. Insects reproduce in cycles. If a second treatment is needed, wait a few days. Observe first, then act gently. Sometimes what looks like failure is simply timing. Patience is part of the process. Safety note: protecting your plants and yourself. This method is simple, but it still deserves care. Always test a small leaf first. Spray 1 area and wait a day. Watch for any spotting or stress. Most healthy plants handle diluted soap well, but testing gives peace of mind. Avoid spraying in direct, midday sun. Heat and moisture together can stress leaves. Wear light gloves if you prefer. Wash your hands after mixing. This is not a time to rush. If a plant is already weak or newly transplanted, pause. Let it recover before treating. This method is not for every situation. Hard-shelled insects like beetles may not respond the same way. Observation comes first. Action follows. The long-term benefit most gardeners don't notice. Over the years, this is what I've seen. When gardeners move away from constant store pesticides and towards simpler methods, plants often look stronger over time. Why? Because there is less chemical buildup on leaves. Beneficial insects are less disturbed. The garden feels more balanced. Resistance becomes less of a problem. Insects are not repeatedly exposed to the same strong formula. And perhaps most important, gardeners feel calmer. They are no longer chasing the problem. They are responding to it thoughtfully. Healthier leaves, fewer cycles of spraying, less buildup in the soil. Small shifts can lead to steady improvement. Before you spray again, before you reach for another strong product, pause. Look closely at your plant. Turn a leaf over. Notice where the insects gather. You don't need stronger chemicals. You need smarter, simpler methods. If you feel comfortable, share in the comments what plant you're treating and what pest you're seeing. It helps to know you're not alone, and it helps others learn too. If progress feels slow, that's okay. Gardening has always rewarded patience. 1 spoon. Gentle observation. Balanced action. Do less. Get more.